The kuruma daoshi technique is just as in the ippon dori. The opponent holds his sword in front of your eyes and then swings it up. He holds the sword in front of your eyes and then raises it up. He holds the sword in front of your eyes and brings it up. Up to this point, the technique is exactly the same as before. However, from here, he changes the line of his blade to attack the side of your head. This is the characteristic of kuruma daoshi. Only the blade line changes. Therefore, the receiver of the attack will have a difficult time reading whether the opponent will strike with shomenuchi or yokomenuchi. But since this is a basic technique, if you cause him to lose his center and you execute the basic movement, that is, bring him off balance as soon as you come into contact with him, then you can deal with the attack in exactly the same manner as before. The technique is exactly the same as the previous technique if he attacks with shomenuchi. And if he changes his blade line and comes in with a yokomenuchi, you can enter into his side with the same movement. The essential premise is that your opponent will be unbalanced when you come into contact with him. Therefore, you should absolutely not parry like this. Now, with your right hand, you execute an atemi to his solar plexus. But originally, the point of attack was the carotid artery. Since it is dangerous to attack the carotid artery, the technique is changed to an attack on the solar plexus. You parry the attack with your left hand by turning your wrist as you come into contact with your opponent. Do not parry here, but parry in a position more to the rear of the opponent's ear. This hand, which attacked the solar plexus instead of the carotid artery, goes against the chin and throws his head down against the ground. However, the opponent cannot take ukemi in this way, so instead of attacking the head, you bring your hand to his shoulder. From this position, sweep his foot with your foot. The next technique is gyaku udedori. The opponent comes to grab your lower lapel. This is called munadori. However, an opponent will not merely grab your lower lapel. It will absolutely be followed by another attack. Once the opponent grabs your lower lapel, he will surely follow with another attack. So the munadori attack does not merely consist of grabbing the lower lapel. We should be sure to be ready for the next attack. One of the essential principles of Daito-ryu, as I have said before, is that we unbalance the opponent as soon as we come into contact with him. Also, there's the term shikaku, whose characters mean dead angle or blind spot. Some other martial arts might use other terms. When the opponent is facing the front, he is not able to see the angle here. His metsuke is here, and he cannot see this angle about here. Another thing is the movement of swinging our arms when we walk. We have practiced this since childhood. So we put all of these together at the same time and execute the technique. The opponent comes to grab your lower lapel. You enter into his blind angle and attack his chin with your right hand. At the same time, you punch his elbow from beneath with your left hand. You perform these movements all together. From there, you raise your arms in a big movement, keeping them straight and extending them. Then strike a blow to his middle brow with your right hand, and at the same time execute another blow to the inside of his elbow with your left hand. Your right hand applies pressure on this joint of his thumb, and your little finger controls the back of his wrist. Your left hand applies pressure against the same nerve point I described when explaining Ippon-dori. Then bring your opponent off balance down into your center at a 45-degree angle to the right. At this point, just as before, your little finger presses the opponent's pulse and your thumb presses the joint of the opponent's thumb. Apply pressure, having your palm completely attached to the opponent's hand. There is no space between the two hands. Then place the hand on the base of the thigh. The left hand is pressing the joint, the nerve point of the elbow. You are applying pressure against 2 points. Finally, just as you did with Ippon-dori, kick your opponent's side to finish.